Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, CMS is set to host AI Demo Days, and OMB guidance on federal AI acquisition is coming soon. It's Friday, September 13th, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Here are today's top headlines. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is asking organizations to provide information about artificial intelligence technologies for use in healthcare outcomes and service delivery as it plans demonstration events. In a request for information announced earlier this week, CMS said it wants to gather information about AI products and services from healthcare companies, providers, payers, startups, and others, and plans to eventually select organizations to provide demos of those technologies at its CMS AI Demo Days starting in October. The Demo Days will be held quarterly and are intended to educate and inspire the CMS workforce on AI capabilities and provide information to inform potential future agency activity. According to the agency, CMS also seeks information on AI technologies potentially relevant to improving and creating efficiencies within agency operations. If selected, organizations would be advised by the agency's AI Demo Days technical panel. Those organizations will then be given a chance to make a 15-minute presentation on their products or services at the Demo Days. Recordings of those events may also be made public. Specifically, the agency is looking for submissions on topics such as diagnostics and imaging analysis, clinical decision support systems, direct-to-patient communication, robotic-assisted healthcare delivery, and fraud detection. Those submissions should provide information about the organization, the entity's experience, descriptions of the technology, how it will address risks and benefits, and what use by CMS could look like. The deadline for questions is September 27th, and the deadline for responses is October 7th. In other news, the Office of Management and Budget is set to soon issue a new memo to help guide agencies' acquisition of artificial intelligence technologies. Deputy Federal CIO Drew Myklegard said Tuesday at FedTalks, produced by FedScoop, that on top of all the milestones the Biden administration has met since issuing its landmark AI executive order last fall, OMB has been developing guidance to ensure federal agencies are following best practices when acquiring AI technologies. The forthcoming memo will follow the release of a more wide-ranging OMB guidance issued March 28th on federal adoption of AI with a focus on governance, risk, and transparency. Myklegard didn't give a specific timeline for the release of the new guidance, but a requirement in last fall's executive order called for OMB to produce, quote, an initial means to ensure that agency contracts for the acquisition of AI systems and services align with OMB's earlier AI guidance within 180 days of its issuance, so that means by September 24th. Along with the earlier federal AI guidance memo, OMB in March issued a request for information on responsible AI procurement to inform future OMB action to govern AI use under federal contracts. That RFI, which was undersigned by Myklegard and Christine Harada, the acting administrator for federal procurement policy, generally asked for feedback in the areas of strengthening the federal AI marketplace and managing the performance and risks of AI. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, visit FedScoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back next week with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.